There's much more one can say about Swamini ji, but personally, I'd like to say my own experience, my own connection with Swamini ji, which was during the long-term course at Anekatti. She's my Guru Bhen. We studied together there under Puja Swamiji and Swami Sakshat Kritananda ji. And she has a wonderful background. See, without a prepared mind, Vedanta knowledge cannot bless us. And psychology becomes a very important aspect of this Vedanta growth or assimilation of Vedanta. And Swamini, having that background, it was a perfect blend of psychology and communication skills that she has for this knowledge to bless her students and all those who listen to her. It's a very interesting topic connected with the power and wisdom of emotions. Even the title itself is so beautiful, because when we talk about emotional self, we feel, sometimes always some negative thinking comes. Oh, I shouldn't think like this. I shouldn't have this emotion, that emotion. But she's going to show us how emotions are part of order and they can bless us with our growth as well. So I'm very much looking forward to the talk, and I'll hand over to Swamini ji to begin her lecture for us. Hari Om.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Swamini.
Yes, Dhanyavada. Thank you. It is a joy to be introduced by my Guru Bhen, Swamini Chideka Rasananda ji, Chideka Rasarupini. As we would chant in Lalita Sahasranama today, being a Friday. So we'd start with the prayer. Om Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. We invoke the blessings of all our gurus as we embark on the journey of self-mastery and self-discovery. I'm very happy to see all of you, the ones I can see, of course, and the ones who have appeared as screens with their names on. I hope to see you at some point in time during this session. So with regards to the topic, the power and wisdom of emotions. Once upon a time, there was Mr. Jiva. He was brought up in a nice Tamil Brahmin South Indian family, or as they say, Tambram family. Like most males, Mr. Jiva had been taught to be very strong and stoic. Do not show your emotions. Don't be a girl. Then he fell in love with his classmate in engineering college. And she was this really chirpy, spontaneous, expressive person. Then in time, they got married. First few days, Mr. and Mrs. Jiva are doing very well. Then after a few days, there are some fights. She expects him to share his emotions. And he said, what is there to share? So I married you. You are a part of my life. But she thinks he is trying to hide something. And he feels that she is too emotional. All the time, they are having fights. She wants him to be expressive and he wants her to be less emotional. Then they try watching YouTube videos on psychology of handling emotions. They try attending yoga class. For a few days, things are okay. Then Mr. and Mrs. Jiva, they continue to have problems in their emotional life. Then one day, they ask the mother-in-law who attends Vedanta class, how does Vedanta look at emotions? And so she says, come and meet my Vedanta guru. They don't want to go anywhere near Vedanta. They are very hesitant, but desperate. And so they meet the Vedanta guru, and of course, the complaints begin. So she says, he's a stone. I thought I was marrying a real person, but I married a stone. And he says, she is too emotional. Otherwise, everything is good in our lives, but we don't have control over our emotions. We end up saying things to each other that we regret, although we love each other so much. So our emotions are a problem. The guru listens to all that they share and says, there is great power and wisdom in emotions. They are a gift, and we have to, in time, appreciate them as a gift. They are not a burden, but a blessing. And they are an essential part of being human. So any emotion or any feeling is accompanied by a physiological response, and there are accompanying thoughts. So when you experience fear, there might be some palpitations, there might be sweating, so on and so forth. Every emotion has a physiological component to it, as well as some related thoughts. It's also possible that one can have mixed feelings to a given situation. Like, let's say your son got into IIT. Now, that he's going to go to the hostel, you're going to miss him. So at one level, you're a little sad, but at another level, you are delighted, excited, and so grateful for the opportunity that he has worked so hard for. So emotions in many ways can feel not very palpable, intangible, difficult to describe. We struggle with the intensity and so on. But emotions help us in many, many ways. And that indicates their power. So one is that they help us understand ourselves. We understand our related thoughts and experiences in the context of some of our emotions. The second is emotions help us connect with the other on a deeper level. So you don't get close to a person by discussing the rate of inflation or the consumer price index or the state of the world's economy. If you just want to share with someone, I'm a little anxious. I hope that we are able to resolve this argument in just couple of statements of being open. The other person feels connected to you. And so emotions play a very, very important part in this. We will all remember our friendships and people that we feel close to. We feel close to them because we believe that we can share anything with them, any kind of emotion where we need not feel shame or we need not feel inadequate, because the other person will accept us. So even if you say, oh, I'm really afraid about what's going to happen, or I'm actually a little jealous because the neighbor bought the new Mercedes. So the other person is not going to look down on you. Emotions will help us connect to the other. Then the third important aspect about the power of emotions is that they motivate us to take action. It is your love for your family that makes you work in a 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 job, like a dog and a donkey, day in and day out. Because just the delight on your children's faces, or even on your partner's face, or the gifts that you can make available for them is so priceless for you that you are willing to put up with some boredom and some drudgery. I'm not saying all jobs are like that, but some jobs are like that. And it is your patriotism that makes you want to go and fight at the borders and actually give up your life. It is your inspiration that makes you create great works of art or be inspired or, really enthusiastic to wake up the next day and see what the next day has in store for you. It is your care for the others that makes you do seva. Emotions are very, very powerful motivators. And so when we feel passionate or excited or inspired, we are more likely to take action towards our goals. And therefore, we can appropriately channelize our emotions. I remember in my own life, the feeling of helplessness when it came to dealing with street children was a great motivator for me to then go on to devise many strategies of working with different stakeholders and run aim for seva, like student homes, collaborate with the government, etc. So emotions are wisdom whisperers. We have to listen to what they have to tell us rather than shoving them away. Then some emotions can protect us. So emotions like fear and anxiety, they basically signal danger, and so they help us stay safe. They activate our fight, flight, freeze, etc. response, and that helps to protect ourselves. Imagine if you were to cross Indian roads in busy traffic, especially if you're not from India, and then you didn't have any fear, then it would be Ram Nam Satya Hai, okay? You would have reached Swarga only, not your destination. So fear is good. We have to see how appropriate it is to the given situation. But these are all gifts given to us, and we have to see their power. And lastly, emotions make us very happy. So, things like happiness, love, gratitude are things we want to feel on a day-to-day basis. They enrich our lives. And most importantly, emotions also indicate our dharma. So the laundry that is to be done, the to-do task that is to be complete, and assuming that it is a realistic to-do task for the day, brings you great joy because you have done what needed to be done in the given roles of your life, right? And so there is great joy in fulfilling one's dharma in the context of our many responsibilities towards our elders, our pitras, our ancestors, or the joy of gardening, the joy of, walking on grass. You have not done anything earth-shattering, or just looking at the sky and then appreciating the sunset, or lying down on the grass and watching the sky as the clouds float by. So all these are very simple, beautiful moments, everyday moments, where you are in harmony with everything, and the natural ananda that you are just seems to get invoked. One of the other things we will note about our emotions is that we may believe our conflicts are emotional, but a lot of our conflicts are conflicts of dharma. So somebody will say, oh, I'm very upset with this one because that person said this. And then the person will explain, she was disrespectful to me. So the basic samanya dharma of ahimsa, least injury, kindness, daya was not upheld. And that's why you got upset. Or, I don't like interacting with this particular colleague because that colleague doesn't share all the information with me. And we are working on the same project. So you may think that, oh, I have to work on my feelings of being upset. No, but recognize the connection that the colleague perhaps is not upholding the value of satyam, truthfulness, and that therefore you are a little bit on edge because you're not sure if you have all the information to move ahead. So another colleague, or maybe you and another person worked on a project, and then you got so carried away that you stole all the credit, didn't give the other person credit. You did not uphold a parigraha. So you stole, credit, or you can steal many other things also. So our emotions can indicate the extent to which we and the others are upholding our dharma. So now the question is, how does Vedanta look at emotions? So of course, we have discussed some of the aspects of the power that emotions hold. And if at all we have to look at the journey of emotional mastery, then I would like to look at it as traveling through 3 stages. Okay, so stage 1 is my mind and emotions are a problem and I have to deal with my mind. So this is our experience. I want to feel more of a particular emotion. I want to be less angry. I want to be more compassionate. Certain emotions I don't want to feel, etc., etc. There is a lot of resistance to what all we feel and what all others also feel. Stage 2, my mind and its emotions are Ishvara Vibhuti. I and you have not created emotions, okay? They are all there with us. They have been given. And of course, we can cultivate it, we can minimize it, we can maximize it. But the stage 2 is really recognizing that I can use the mind as an instrument. I have the emotions. Emotions do not have me. The dog wags its tail. The tail doesn't wag the dog. So here the word antakarana, what a stunning word. Inner instrument for the mind. So bahya karana, the body, so antakarana cannot operate on its own. Somebody has to be there to operate the instrument. And so emotions can become one's friends when one is using the mind as an instrument. And finally, if we pass through this stage, then stage 3 is I, Chaitanyam, shine the light on my mind and all its emotions, and I am not affected by any of them. Because I am not defined by the mind, I am the Chaitanyam that illumines whatever happens in the mind. So it's very interesting that in Vedanta, the lakshana for a wise person sometimes is presented in the context of emotion. So when Arjuna, accomplished warrior, asks, yat shreyas yat nishitam bruhitan me, please give me shreyas, I am your student, I have shraddha in you, please teach me. What does Bhagavan say? He doesn't say, shreyas is moksha is you. He doesn't say that. What does he say? Ashocyananva shochastvam. Prajnavadamscha bhashase katasuna katasunscha nanu shochanti panditaha. That you have grief, shokaha, for those who are not to be grieved for. So basically what he's saying is there is no reason for sorrow. Is he dismissing Arjuna's grief? Because you'll say, well, what kind of a friend is he? What kind of a teacher? Straight starts with a bang. You have no reason for grief. He doesn't say, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you are feeling sad. And it's okay. I'm there for you. No worries. No, nothing. Straight. You have no reason for grief. Why? Because you have taken this body, mind to be you only. And therefore, that is not a valid conclusion. It is a vichara siddhaha. It is a conclusion you have reached without any inquiry, without any vichara. And then, of course, through the rest of the verses and the chapters, he teaches Yoga Shastra, Brahma Vidya. Finally, what does he say in 18th chapter? Ma Shuchaha. So, for those who are familiar with Shadlinga Vichara, so Upakrama, Upasamhara, same. So, they are all in line. So, you have no reason to grieve. Do not grieve. Do not feel sadness. He concludes the teaching, 18th chapter. So, now this shokaha, sadness, sorrow, grief, whom does it belong to? The Atma? No, the state of the mind. And what is Bhagavan Krishna telling Arjuna? You are not the mind, you are more than the mind. So what I'm saying is that in the context of Vedanta, there are statements like this, or even for that matter, in an Upanishad. So Chandogya Upanishad, 7th chapter, when, Narada is asking Sanat Kumara for wisdom, he, of course, rattles out one long list. I know this, I know that, all 4 Vedas, etc., Upaveda, Vedanga. Then, Tarati Atmavit Shokam. I have heard that the knower of the Atma crosses sorrow. I want to know that. So, knowledge, Jnaanam, being, Satyam, often is expressed in the context of our emotions. Why? Because we are emotional people. That's why. And our emotions can be a very good indicator, a very good gateway into knowing the truth. Thank God that we feel sadness. Because, when you intensely feel angst, it is just a symptom of the human problem of limitation. If we had not felt sadness, okay, if we had not felt this, like you're trapped in a cage, you're doing well, you're an achiever, all that, but this human limitation that after all the achievements and leaving a legacy and all that, what is going to happen? Oh, Ram Nam Satya hai. That's what they will say when they carry the body to the funeral pyre. Then all of this, is it all amounting to nothing? Then one starts to question. So the shoka that is there in your life or has been there, just do one namaskara. Thank you very much, because you have taught me a lot. And most importantly, you have been a symptom for me to inquire more deeply into, first of all, how can I reduce the sorrow? This is a practical thing. But what is that sorrow an indicator of? And what are the conclusions I have made related to this experience of sorrow? Then, of course, positively speaking, the Gita also says, Sthita Prajna Lakshana, Atmanieva Atmana Tushtaha. So happy, content in oneself, happy with oneself. So again, it is being presented in the context of an emotion. So then, this stage 2 is very important of recognizing that all emotions are a vibhuti, they are a glory from Ishvara, but we cannot bypass this, right? If you say, no, straight, I want to go, I Chaitanyam, illumine the mind, I am not affected. Not possible. Okay, you can't reach stage 3 directly. So, how shall we move from stage 1 to stage 2, where we say, oh, my mind is a problem, emotions are a problem, to my mind and emotions can be an instrument. And then finally, I am free from my mind. I was always free from the conditions of my mind. I am the Atma. So I focus more on stage 1 to stage 2. There are 4-5 areas we want to look into. Okay. So one is emotional expression. If we look at any ancient culture, particularly ours, because it's a living ancient culture, civilization, our dance, music, theatre, they all trace their roots to Natya Shastra by Bharata Muni. And Natya Shastra presents a brilliant model of emotions. So emotion is a little limiting word. The word there is bhava or rasa. And Natya Shastra tells us that if you want to be a complete human being, full evolved human being, then you need to be a suhrit. Suhrit is a person with a sensitive heart, a person who can experience all emotions. So including Shringaraha, so love, beauty, hasya, cheerfulness, laughter, humor, karuna, or shoka, sadness or compassion, raudra, anger, virya, power, bhayanakaha, fear, jugupsa, disgust. When you see a tobacco ad and you see what happens to the jaw, etc. Vismaya, wonder. So these were eight original bhavas there, and then one other 9th bhava, shantaha, to shanti, peace. So these 9 bhavas are there in every human heart, and there is no reason to resist any of them, including anger and sadness. Each bhava is like a psychological state that is accompanied by certain thoughts, physiological aspects, and the purpose of natyam or music or dance, or for that matter, even what we watch on Netflix or any of the OTT platforms, is really to go through emotions. It's an amazing gift that in a matter of 2 hours, you allow yourself to go through different emotions. That's what you're thinking. You'll say, oh, have you seen Kantara? I recommend you see it. Okay, some people will give you recommendation. Now, you're going for entertainment. Okay, whatever entertainment, fine. So whether you go to the theater or you're watching it at home, you go through fear, anxiety, excitement, cheerfulness. You experience love, you experience gratitude, you experience awe, reverence, excitement, comedy, all these emotions in 2 hours time. And you don't hold back because you know that you are someone who is watching the movie. It's the same thing, okay? You as Sakshi, for those who are exposed to Vedanta, you are watching the movie of your life that's playing out on the big screen that is called life. And then different emotions are there. So there is romance and there is tragedy and there is comedy. And then there is just even days, there's boredom, all kinds of things. And as the Sakshi, Chaitanyam, you see you, the karta, the bhokta, the doer, the experiencer in the different roles, going through different emotions is the same thing. But the safety of watching a movie is that we don't hold back. We don't say, oh, I must not cry or something like that, or I must not, laugh out loud. Then we send out emojis also, LOL. So we allow ourselves because this is natural to us. And even in Ramayana, Mahabharata, all our devatas, Devi also, they will describe her Raudra Rupa. So, if the Devatas have no issues in expressing their emotions, we need not have problems in expressing our emotions. So, the culture revels in bhava, it revels in rasa. In fact, Taittiriya Upanishad will say, raso vaisaha, in the context of revealing what is the nature of Ananda. So, this culture sees that all emotions are in order, and please do not make a judgment about yourself based on your emotions. So, the first area that I want to talk about is emotional expression. Therefore, rather than complaining and saying, you don't give me any time and you're always on the phone, how would you better express this if you were to add what you were feeling? So you might say something like, I would love for us to spend time. These moments are important to me. So can we have 5 minutes? That's it. You don't have to do all this drama all the time, right? So just for little practice, yeah. Can I have some people in the chat box express just, with the first thought that comes to your mind? So let's go with this. So just type it in, okay? I get excited when complete. Anyone? Okay, when someone ignores me, okay, when I think of eating chaat, lovely. I get excited when I see my pet rushing up to me. Excellent. Okay, I get anxious when I have to speak to a large group. Okay, when others do not communicate honestly, excellent, very nice. I don't hear from my children frequently, very nice. Okay, one last one. I am grateful for the daily miracle of life, for my beautiful life, everything in life, supportive people. Excellent. Thank you very much for your responses. So, what you've done, the ones who responded and the ones who, of course, mentally said it in their mind, the response to the question is that you allow yourself to express emotion. This is very important. A lot of our psychosomatic diseases are because we do not express, because we are worried about the peace and harmony. So we think, oh, if I say, then what will happen? Why don't you actually express your concern that I have some things on my mind and I am concerned that if I express it, that there might be a rift. So you are absolutely right in expressing whatever you need to, of course, appropriately. But this is an important area, expressing emotion. Second, emotional security, or what we might also refer to as a practice of a samanya dharma, santoshaha, contentment, prasada buddhi also. I'm guessing a lot of people are familiar with karma yoga. So a lot of us complain that we are not loved enough. We feel we are not accepted. So I did so much for my children. I lived my whole life for them. But, they are not calling me. They are not picking up my phone, etc., etc. So the point is, how do you feel secure, or how do you feel loved? This is something that you must know. generally, we feel loved in 5 different ways. There could be more. When people speak words of appreciation to us, so I care for you, I love you, you are important to me, etc. Or through physical touch, holding, hugging, kissing, or through caring actions. Some of us feel very cared for, loved. Or if someone is spending quality time with us, could be a short time, but it is quality time. The person is fully present, and so we feel very heard and accepted and understood. Or the person is just around, is present, may not be doing much, but is there for you, right? So, emotional security. I am safe, I am secure, I am loved, I am accepted. This is what we want to grow into. And how can we do that? One is by expressing our love in ways that other people understand. So a lot of the times we complain that, oh, this one doesn't care for me. Why? Because this person did not say nice things to me. But that person's style of caring for me is just doing a lot of things for me, right? So the people that we love may not show us love in the way that we want. They show their love according to their background in their own way. Do I have the eyes to see it? Viveka comes in here. Before Nitya Vastu Viveka. Okay. So here also emotional security I can grow into when I have Viveka about what is Nitya and Anitya. What is temporary? What is eternal, permanent? If I expect that which is Anitya, temporary, to give me Nitya Sukha, to give me everlasting, eternal happiness, whose problem is it? Is not the problem of that person. We will live happily ever after. But more practical is until death do us apart. So I am expecting something to last forever and ever. But it is not meant to. And there is no parihara. Tasmat apariharya. Why? Because it is not dhruvam. It is not eternal. So therefore, releasing people from the pressure of them showing unconditional love to you is a great gift you can give people. Nobody has this aspiration, I am going to be unconditionally loving to everyone. People only say, oh, I wish other was unconditionally loving to me. And then we complain and so on and so forth. So I am safe, I am secure and protected. I can see the truth of this when I express my care for others, and I'm also able to receive the care that they show to me in their own ways. And if there is a dissonance, then maybe I can tell them that, I feel really cared for if when you say things that you appreciate about me. I'm not asking for flattery. Or you can say, no, maybe I am asking for flattery, but I would love to hear some nice things about me. If that is your preferred love language, right? So, this growing emotional security can also glide into feeling more and more secure in your relationship with Bhagavan. The more you understand Ishvara, the more you understand Bhagavan pervading you, the more you see that you yourself are a manifestation of Bhagavan. The material cause is Bhagavan, intelligent cause is Bhagavan. So therefore, emotional security is almost natural. The third area of emotional mastery, whereby we can see that our emotions are a vibhuti, is emotional strength, or what we might call prasada, or even titiksha for that matter. Shitoshna sukha dukkheshu sahishnutvam. So very important qualification in Vedanta, that I am able to put up with difficult situations. So if you want to do this, go on yatra. So ideal, okay, and don't go on a 5-star luxury trip. So there will definitely be lots of crowds, and there will be something that will go wrong. And then you still put up with it because you are choosing your suffering, that you are learning to be comfortable with discomfort. And the more we do this, the more sahishnutvam, the more titiksha we have, then the whole world can become your comfort zone. Your comfort zone need not be the couch in your living room or that place in the balcony with all your plants. Your comfort zone can extend all the way such that no situation feels limiting for you. So emotional strength is an area we work on in terms of prasada buddhi, in terms of our titiksha. The fourth area is emotional health. So it's likely that most of the people here do not drink alcohol. Okay. But I'm sure all of us know that there is a phenomena called hangover, right? So the person has a drink in the night. And then when the person wakes up in the morning, has nausea, feels like vomiting, dizziness, headache. Not everyone experiences, but a lot of people you might have heard complain about this. So you may say, I don't drink. But a lot of situations in our lives, we have a hangover of. Why? Because it has not been processed. So the hurt of that situation or the guilt of that situation, it was experienced and it all piled up. And so the residue of that, the situation is long gone. Let's say it happened in 2012. But still there are symptoms, still there is irritation, still there is anger, still there is sadness related to what happened then. So here in the context of emotional health, practicing shaucham. So one of the ways we do it is our Nitya Puja. In fact, our Sankalpa itself will say Duritakshaya Dwara. So all these Duritas, all these impurities that are there in my life unfolding as little papa, or even the acts of omission and commission that I have done. So please bless me, Bhagwan. I don't need to carry this hangover. There needs to be shaucham, there needs to be shama, mano nigraha. So resolution of the mind, which one could distill as saying, I am emotionally strong. And if we look into our own lives, there have been many situations where we have displayed and exhibited a lot of strength. So now when we start paying attention to our emotional security, to our emotional health, to our emotional strength, to our emotional expression, then you find there is no suppression. You are able to enjoy different emotions. You are able to see all of them in yourself, in the others. You're not suppressing, you are not denying. And in this, what happens is that you see you are bigger than all your emotions. Emotions will come, emotions will go, but you are there as the witness of all of them. And the fifth area is emotional independence. So here, our aim is not to have an emotion-free mind. No. The knowledge of Vedanta teaches us that I am free from the conditions of the mind. I was always free. And this mind was just given to me as an antakarna, that's all. So, emotional independence means I see that I am independent of all emotions. I, as the bhokta, as the experiencer, am able to experience different emotions, But I, as Sakshi Chaitanyam, am free, always free from all emotions. So just like when you go to the beach, suppose if somebody says, oh, why are you waiting on the beach for so long? Oh, I am waiting for the waves to die down, the waves of emotions to die down so that I can see the water. It sounds ridiculous, right? You don't have to wait for waves to die down to see the water. Where there is wave, there is water. That's it. But we think once all my emotions are resolved, then Atma will shine. Atma is shining. That's why you are able to experience and witness all emotions. Okay. And so this emotional independence, a little bit of Drigdrishya Viveka is very helpful. So you see that, when you see an elephant, you don't become an elephant, right? You see an ant, you don't become an ant. Then when you see a sad thought, then what happens? You don't have to become that sad thought. You just see yourself as independent of whatever is experienced. To help us appreciate stage 2 better, that emotions are a vibhuti of Ishvara, Ishvara being the material cause of this entire world of name and form. So all names, all forms being Ishvara, all intelligence being Ishvara, there is this wonderful couple of shlokas in the Gita, which I want to bring to your notice. So this is from the 10th chapter, 10.4 and 5. बुद्धिर्ज्ञानमसम्मोहः क्षमा सत्यं दमशमः सुखं दुःखं भवो भावः भयं च भयमेव च अहिंसा समता तुष्टिः तपोदानं यशो यशः भवन्ति भावा भूतानां मत्त एव पृथक् विधाः. So in Vibhuti Yoga chapter, 10th chapter, Bhagavan gives a list of all the things that are his glories. Because if it is said all that is here is Ishvara, some of us get it, some of us don't. There is a need to dwell on what that Ishavasyam Sarvam Idam, that Sarvam. What is that Sarvam? What is this all? And Bhagavan starts right away with our psychological states. So in 10.5, he will say, all these psychological dispositions, this capacity to understand buddhi, jnanam, knowledge, then asammohaha, freedom from delusion, and then few others he mentions. Matta eva. They are from me alone. All these different prithak vidhaha, all these different dispositions. So sukham, pleasure or happiness, dukkham, pain, bhavaha. So here in this context, creation, abhavaha, not absence, destruction. Bhayam, fear, abhayam, fearlessness. What? Fear. Bhayam is from Bhagavan. Yes. Yes. So now how will you reject fear? It is a gift that has been given to you for your protection. Then he goes on to say ahimsa, samata, least harm or harmlessness, equanimity, samata, tushti, contentment, dhanam, yashaha, etc., etc. All of these are all given to you. They are from me. So that means what? That means that every emotion you experience, you are experiencing Ishvara. So what is it that bhaya can teach you? Fear. So fear can teach you to be cautious and alert in potentially dangerous situations. So it's good if you feel fear when crossing a busy street. Very good. You must feel some fear. Or sadness, shokaha. Sadness can teach us to appreciate the good times, because the general sadness we feel when you lose a tooth or a hair or even a person. You realize how much the person or that thing mattered to you, and maybe we will not take things and people for granted. Krodha, our own anger can help us set boundaries, and it is a pointer to, am I having a raga? We all have a unspoken rule book for how people should behave. You should do this. When I tell you sit down, you should sit down. We expect obedience from people, okay? Nobody is obedient. Okay, now forget, like children in schools, though, not at all. Teachers are even more disobedient. I've had many sessions with children, with teachers also, and they are the last ones to do any homework. They may crib a lot. Oh, my children don't do homework, etc., etc. Ask them if they can, walk the talk. Anyway, so anger generally is a sign of some injustice being done. And so if you feel anger, it is possible that you have been threatened or been wronged or some injustice has been done to you. And so it can teach us something. It is good if you feel angry at some of the injustice that happens in the world, and then you can channelize that anger appropriately. If you have dvesha, hatred towards someone, then it can also teach you to have compassion, because you see the consequence of having that dvesha. Let's say somebody in the extended family didn't treat you well, or is spreading lots of rumors about you, or puts you down, etc. And it makes you very uncomfortable. You almost dislike, avoid, and so on. Then you can see what it does to you, and you can also learn that I am not going to be resentful and bitter because of this. Perhaps I may choose to speak to the person if appropriate, or I will use this situation to grow out of it and bring in more prasada buddhi and kaushalam in my life. So you see, all of these psychological states, they are all Ishvara Srishti. And when I say my emotions are a problem, I am living in Jiva Srishti. Jiva Srishti means the creation that is made by me. My thoughts, my desires, my feelings, nobody bothers, etc., etc. Ishvara Srishti, when I start to live in, I am able to see that all emotions are given. I have a choice to cultivate more, less, and it helps me connect with everyone. And this feeling of connectedness is so integral and so important in today's life, because loneliness, depression are on the rise, and all of it comes down to not feeling connected, because we don't honor our relationships. We don't honor our pitris, we don't revere our devatas, the plants and animals, or we will hug the dog but pat the husband or wife. Sometimes this can also happen. So when I start to live in Ishvara Srishti, I am awake, I am alive to everything that is happening around me. I do not resist my emotions, I do not resist the laws of nature. I see cause and effect, I see correlation, contributing factors to whatever are different situations. And so then the question might be, well, what shall I develop? Well, if you are on this moksha pursuit, all these are important. You cultivate and develop whatever is required. So when shall we do this? In the throes of anger and sadness? No, not at all. When do people prepare for war? Not when the enemy comes knocking on the borders. Okay. You as a soldier prepare for war throughout the year. Of course, you pray that there is no war. because nobody wants a war. But if it has to be so, so be it. So this emotional mastery of moving from my emotions are a problem to emotions are a vibhuti, and I can use my mind as an instrument, that happens on a regular basis uh, in the everyday life. I don't have to wait for one fine day. I look at Shubha Muhurtam for it. So Bhagavan Krishna reminds us, Uddhared Atmanatmanam Atmanatmanam Avasadayet. Atmaiva Hyatmana Bandhuhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. So you have to lift yourself by yourself. And here Atma referring to the Antakarana. When there are very happy moments, we are busy celebrating. When, of course, there are sad moments, we are busy mourning. Mourning also, mourning and mourning. Then, we don't want to do the enquiry. But this is exactly the time that we pay attention to our emotional mastery. And may we be a friend to ourselves. May we not sit in self-judgment because I have this emotion, that emotion, etc., etc. Anyway, all that belongs to the karta bhokta, to the doer, the experiencer. I am more than the karta bhokta, more than the doer experiencer. And so then viveka becomes important, a very clear discriminating ability. So then we examine our own thought distortions. All of us love to blame. If you go into therapy, then you will start, generally you will blame, the world is like this. Then you will come down finally to blaming your parents, or you will come down to blaming yourself. Okay. But Bhagavad Gita encourages us to not blame anyone. So your karma is coming back right to you, and you can make a choice with respect to your karma. And it teaches us that at best you are a contributor, never the controller. So more and more I'm able to see reality for what it is. Or I could have a thought pattern of shoulds. In the name of discipline, I have a long list of what people should do. People have this list for gurus also. This guru should do like this, like that, etc. Okay. So you cannot put an absolute condition on anyone. Everybody is going to resist it. And then you get angry. So what I'm saying is, it's important to examine the connection of our emotion with our thought patterns. But ultimately, emotions are very powerful wisdom whisperers. We listen to them and you ask them, like suppose if it was really a character, let's say fear is a character, what do you want to tell me? Because you are making me afraid. What do you want to tell me? And fear will speak. Okay. Be with it and then see that you are always free from it. But don't be in a hurry, because you can enjoy them for what they are. No emotion can take away or add to the Atma that you are, because anyway, you are free from the conditions of the mind. So we need to spend a lot of time on this emotional mastery. Then whenever we are exposed to the vision of Vedanta, or perhaps systematic Vedanta classes are going on, then stage 3 is a cakewalk. I just see so clearly that I, as the Atma, shine the light on the mind and its emotions. I was never defined by the mind. And so I recognize my own nature as Satyam Jnaanam Anantam. In the context of interaction with others, it becomes bhakti, it becomes prema, because love is a dynamic expression of the ananda that one is. And so bhakti is defined as para prema rupa, limitless love. So the love for the limitless, that is purnatvam, that is yourself, that is Ishvara. That ananda you are. And so only when we are able to allow ourselves to experience all emotions such that no emotion is a problem for me, and I am able to see that I illumine the emotions, then I am able to see and appreciate the vision of Vedanta. I'm able to see that wherever emotions are, Ishvara is. Wherever the karyam is, the effect is, there alone, the karanam, that is Ishvara is. And wherever Ishvara is, I am. Because the Swarupa of Ishvara and me is one. So Satyam Jnanam Anantam. I'll close with a prayer and then I'm happy to take questions. Before we do this prayer, allow so this is, we will do Sarve Bhavantu. Allow yourself to experience warmth, care, and love. Think of one person in your life that needs to feel acceptance and care, and bring to mind another person who is not on good terms with you. Okay? Whoever you want to bring to your mind, you're welcome to, but these two people, if you can. And as you see them in your mind's eye, you wish them well. You wish that they are happy. You wish they are free from disease. And you wish that they are free from sorrow. And you do this because naturally you are a loving person. That is how you are. It is a dynamic expression of the Ananda that you are, and it is just expressing itself. So as you bring these people to your mind, allow the love that you have in your heart to radiate to all of them. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukh Abhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So I'm happy to do questions. You could either do it verbally or on chat. Verbally would be better, of course.
Hari Om, Swamini. It's quite a lovely talk when we know now that we don't need to hold back all the emotions, and we understand that. My first question is, now even if it's a simple emotion as sadness, or we are crying about, we just let it out or express it. What about the impact it has on people close to us or around us? And even silence, if you don't want to express yourself, thinking you're going to hurt someone, but still you're hurt, so you just keep quiet. Even that hurts people many times. So how do we deal with our emotions versus how we are going to affect others, and you don't want to land up hurting anybody in the process? So
yeah. So first I admit to myself that I am sad and there might be a reason for it. Okay. And the second is I want to share it with someone. So then you tell the person that I want to share something that's been on my mind, but I don't want you to be too affected by it. Okay. So, or I'm concerned that if I share, you will get more upset. And that's why I have held myself back from sharing it. That's it. And share it. See, because when I say I don't want you to be hurt, it's another way of saying I want to control your emotional state. Let that person handle their emotion. Correct? I don't want you to feel bad. I don't want you to feel like this. Hey, how about you? Okay. So, in other words, I mean, it comes from a place of great care for the other, but I don't want you to feel bad, so I can continue feeling bad. Like, what is the logic in this? No. And suppose, let's just say that the person also gets very upset. Okay. So then we can say, well, I was concerned that you would be very upset, and that's exactly what happened. And, let's think of what we can do to emerge from this situation, or ask for help. Like, I would feel better if you were to do XYZ for me, or if there's anything that I can do about it, or let's keep talking about it, so that we can figure a way out from this situation. But thanking the person for listening to you, or the fact that, like a big burden has been lifted off your chest because you've been able to share. Silence can be misinterpreted, and it often gets misinterpreted. So if I, in the name of no, peace and harmony, I'm always silent, the other person is left to guess. But if I have a mouth, I better express, and then let the person handle it. It's okay, not a problem at all. Yeah. Okay.
Namaste, Swami. I've been advised by a health group that I belong to. They're also a little bit into Vedanta. And I've been told that there is something that is bothering you mentally, and that is what is taking its toll on your body. So it's better to have these things, express these emotions, get it over and done with. But my question is, it's not, yes, it will pose a huge challenge to me to be able to do that, because I'm convinced that the other person may not be, take it in the right spirit or receptive to it. Should I be concerned about that, or should I just go ahead and do it anyways? To a certain extent, we do have to look into the receptivity aspect as well, isn't it, Swami?
Yeah.
So I would like that
question.
clarified.
Yeah. I will respond to this question, but I also wanted to keep an open offer for any of y'all. If you want to discuss any situation one-on-one, then, please get in touch with me. My email is, somebody can type it, swaminiji@discoveratma.com. Okay. So now, some of the healing we might need to do alone. If the person is dead and gone, or if the person is not available, or we are absolutely convinced, and so are others around me, that this situation is not going to get resolved, we still need to focus on our healing, which means that I'm not going to allow a situation or a person to determine my emotional landscape. Right? Now, one other thing we want to think about, in the context of approaching the person and sharing it, what is the goal of the relationship? Okay. It may have been something once upon a time, but now at this age and stage in life, what is the goal of my relationship with that person? Is it basic cordiality? Or I have to just maintain peace and harmony for the rest of the family? Or I want to have a closer relationship with that person. We just have another 20 years odd left, and I want to push aside all the anger and regret and all that. I want to make a new start. If I want to make a new start, I must go and express appropriately, of course. Sometimes it helps if you were to write an email or write something down and give it to the person, so that, sometimes we can be so overwhelmed with emotion that we don't think we will be able to say all that is on our mind. So we can do that. So I would say, about approaching the person or not, it will largely depend on what is the goal of your relationship going forward mutually. Right? Then accordingly, you can take a call. Does that help?
Thank you, Swami. Yes, it does. But the thing is, the mutually cannot be guaranteed, right? You can only account for your own emotions. You cannot have expectations of the other person, like you just now said. You said a little earlier.
Yes. So therefore, it's important to articulate what your expectations are. See, for
Right.
most of us,
Right.
we say that, I would really like it if you were to be there for me for XYZ, or care and support, and,
Yes.
contribute to my happiness. Like, I would also like to do the same for you, and I would
For you.
like you to do this. Now, don't bring in Vedanta here. I'm not going to have expectations. You choose to relate to someone, and as long as your expectations are in line with dharma, it is absolutely fine, because you are allowing
Yes.
the other person to do their dharma towards you, and so are you doing that.
Yes.
So here,
Correct.
it's good to ask the person, how can I contribute to your life, or what would you expect from me? Suppose a person says, I don't have any expectations. Suppose. Okay. So then you
Yeah.
see that, that shows anger to me. And it looks like you're angry or sad about something. And it feels like you don't want to expect anything, because you believe that your expectations will not be met, because there is some baggage of the past. So it would really be helpful for me to understand what you would expect from me, given that we are related in whatever way, so that we can find a way forward, so that we can find a way to be there for each other in whatever way is helpful to both. So you're coming from a constructive approach, and you're coming from a standpoint of wanting to contribute, not out of fear. Let's assume you have fear also. So you say that, I'm really afraid, I've held this for too long, but I don't want to wallow in this anymore. I am willing to take the risk that I may be misunderstood on this matter, but it's so important that I share this. Because if I don't share it, then even the opportunity of resolving is lost.
Yes.
And I don't want to have a regret like 10 years down the line. Anyway, I'm regretting for 5 years now. I don't want to regret 10 years down the line.
Right.
So yeah.
Thank you so much, Swami.
You're welcome.
How does one handle triggers? Things, when the trigger comes, then some past comes back, and then there's this almost reliving of sadness or whatever, anger, anything. And then after some time, I recover from that. Then life goes on, nothing seems to happen, and suddenly, decades later, unexpectedly a trigger comes. In other words, it has never subsided. It's never been resolved, I think.
Whatever the trigger is, what does it cause in you?
The trigger brings back the
like complete this. I feel what?
I feel angry. I feel ignored. I feel not recognized for what have gone through, whatever.
Right.
Along those lines.
Okay, thank you for sharing this. So there are two aspects to our response. One is our internal dialogue, and the other is our external response to the person, right? Now, internal dialogue is something we are in charge of. So now the trigger is causing me to feel ignored, angry, and hurt at the unjust treatment that was meted out to me, right? I have to heal from this. How will I do that? I call upon the loving me, okay, the loving Chandra Prabha, who is an adult, who is loving, and who can take care of that aspect or that part of me which is hurting, which has felt ignored. So I can take you all through a guided meditation for like 3 minutes or something. Okay, if you're welcome to join in as well. And so I invite you all, if you're comfortable, you all can close your eyes or keep it open, either way. So I am the loving one in the life of the one who has been hurt, who has been ignored and who has been treated unfairly. And you bring that being, may have been at a younger age to mind, see that person who was you actually in an earlier version perhaps, or a particular role, and you just extend care and love to that part of you. So just like a mother or a parent would extend care and love to a child, you hold that being and say, I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. And I, as a loving being in your life, so I, as the manifestation of Bhagavan, who is all love, limitless, without any lack, I'm telling you that I love you. You are lovable. You are completely acceptable. And it's unfortunate that you had to go through this, and you had to go through this alone without much support. And whatever happened, happened. And I was not there for you. And you had to struggle with not feeling cared for, not feeling loved, being ignored for a long time. As a result of which you might have made some decisions or you made some choices that were not helpful. In any case, I can only promise you that going forward, I am there for you. I care for you. I love you. And it's possible that you may not see the truth of what I'm saying. It's possible that since I was not there for you earlier, you may not trust me. It's okay. You take your time. I am willing to wait. I want you to know that I am there for you. We will continue this conversation later. For now, know that you are cared for. Know that whatever happened, happened. We will deal with it. We can decide if we want to respond to the person or not. But you are okay. I am with you. I care for you. You are loved. I completely accept you. Suppose I am struggling with that, I might say I am willing to accept you completely and allow me to express my care for you. And we will continue this conversation. Okay? So I would actually encourage you to have a lot of these conversations with yourself and also invite the hurt one to respond. Because the hurt one will say, this happened and you didn't do this and that one said this and ta. So, it needs to be a dialogue. So first you work on yourself, okay? First you work with healing yourself, right?
Okay.
Is one part of it. See, because you are saying that, I'm getting triggered by somebody's behavior, right? Now, either the person is absolutely valid in their behavior, or maybe the person is not upholding dharma, right? Two options. If the person is upholding dharma, but I am the one getting triggered, then I have to anyway work on myself. If the person is being adharmic, still I need to work on myself and heal the past wounds, right? So that is point one. Point two is that again, I would look at the goal of the relationship and say that if I'm looking at having a close relationship with the other person, and maybe the person's tone is very disrespectful or something, I can only make a request. I cannot say, you should talk to me respectfully. The person will be more disrespectful, okay? You can just say that, when you can recall some moment, like when you speak to me in this way, I feel cared for, I feel respected. And in the past, there have been instances where I have felt disrespected. So sometimes when your tone is like that, I know you are coming from a good place. I know that you're coming from a family where people just blurt out the truth and they don't care about the tone and everything, and because that's the background, and I totally get it. But when you speak to me like this, I'm only hearing the tone, I'm not hearing the words, because I'm little extra sensitive. And I'm not blaming you, I'm just sharing where I'm coming from. If possible, is it okay if I just tell you that I'm getting triggered by what you're saying and I'm just going to have time out, or if you see me withdraw, understand that it's the tone. I will come back to the conversation a little later. The reason I'm sharing all this is because I value our relationship and I want us to be there for each other in whatever way. That's why I'm sharing it with you. I'm not here to blame you. And I am just sharing where I'm coming from, because all of us have our own unique backgrounds, So you are addressing the person with respect. You are sharing where you're coming from. You're not telling the person what he or she should do or not do. And the person, of course, is free to respond in whatever way the person wishes to. Making sense? Go ahead.
I have one question. The talking with oneself, like explaining to the inner child and all, why doesn't it feel natural? It doesn't feel natural to talk with oneself.
See, initially when you do it, it doesn't feel natural, right? But after you do it once, twice, it will feel very natural. See why? Because we are constantly talking to ourselves. Even a simple thing now, should I go and make tea? No, it's okay, let it be. Not now. It's already time for dinner. So, okay, no, we won't do it. We're constantly, okay, for, against, you're commenting on somebody, you're saying, how could the person speak like this? Non-stop dialogue is going on. So what we're doing is we're just changing the quality of that dialogue to being loving. And it is true, it might feel a little artificial because we are exaggerating a hurt part of ourselves. In the sense, we're amplifying it. So it may feel like that, but I would just suggest, just go with the exercise and see what it evokes in you. Because, one thing that we have not, because of the nature of the session is such, I would ask, what is the hurt one feeling? And we would invite the hurt one to speak, then it's a complete dialogue. Otherwise, it's more a monologue. So try it and let it feel artificial. It's okay. Do it a couple of times and then you see. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You want to try something now? We can do. So give me some, tell me more about this artificial stuff, yeah? Then I will guide something.
It was more on a general term, like when I get angry, someone has spoken rudely with me. So like Chandra Prabha say, I get triggered immediately instead of focusing on myself and speaking to myself. So yeah, the speaking to myself, it doesn't feel natural to me. It's easier to get triggered, but later on when I think about it, I feel I should have dealt with it differently, and I regret what I do. But yeah, so it's more on a general term, on a day-to-day basis.
Right. So here, when you say that I regret it, that I should have responded in a different way. So there is something in me that holds me back, right? And who is that? Can we give a word to that being, that part of me?
The hurt one, the one who is hurt.
The hurt one, the hesitant one. See, let's say, there are a flow of situations that are going on in our lives. This inner child work or this healing kind of dialogue, we need not do before or after the trigger situation. It is something that we do beforehand. you know. So here, let's say with this hurt and the angry one, we talk to that being. So that's exactly what we did as a part of the session. Now, after hearing that, the hurt and the angry one, what is the hurt and angry one saying? Let's just hypothesize, okay? Go ahead. I don't believe you.
The hurt one is saying, yeah, I don't believe you. I'm not, I can't find the words.
Excellent. Excellent. So then you say that, yes, I see that you don't believe me because I've not been around for you. Suddenly I have appeared because of some exercise we are doing, and I'm saying all these things to you. So you will find it difficult to believe me. You will find it difficult to trust me, and that's okay. No rush. I just want to say I'm there for you, and I want you to heal from all the hurt that you have been through. You know, because the situation has come, it has gone, but the residue is still there. And as a result of which you are holding yourself back, you don't fully express yourself. And then as a result of which you're not able to get into close relationships, you doubt people's intentions, because obviously, you know, because of you, and I thank you, you know, my hurt self, you're trying to protect me. I see that. I see where you're coming from. And I just want to say that I love you. I'm there for you. I accept you. I'm not trying to reduce your hurt. I'm not trying to increase it. I'm just there for you. I hold you in my arms with a loving embrace. Like Bhagavan embraces all of us, you know. Namaste vayo tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi. So the air that you breathe, all the Pancha Mahabhutas, they are all holding us in a great embrace. So I am there for you, you know, like even if XYZ was not there when you have been going through all this hurt and pain and anger, I am there for you. And if you identify yourself as a bhakta, as a devotee who's ever connected with Bhagavan, then where the devotee is, Bhagavan is right there in the heart. So I am there for you. Bhagavan's love is there for you. We will heal from all of this together. Then what is the hurt one saying?
The hurt one is happy.
Perfect. Then you just have a nice chocolate or something. You celebrate, you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.